Hey guys, this is Karthik from the hiddendeveloper.com YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to use the input method editor or the IME in a Samsung Smart TV application. So this video is actually, there is a little bit delay in the release of this video. This was supposed to come online 2 days back. Because of some technical restrictions I am not able to publish this video. So here I am. So let's get into the topic. So before going on to the practical stuff, let me give you a little bit introduction about what an IME is all about. So IME stands for Input Method Editor, which is a plugin that is used by the Samsung Smart TV in order to enable the user for easy text-based interaction with the Samsung Smart TV application. So normally when you take any application, the more the user interacts with the application, the more the application becomes very close to the user, the more the application becomes more lively, the more the user is going to trust your application with his personal data when you enable personal text-based entries into the app, rather than the user opening your app and just viewing the contents and just navigating and going back. So IME provides a better opportunity for your Samsung Smart TV user to better interact with your app. So if you take a look at what this IME is all about. So IME is a plugin that is based on the XT9 protocol. So XT9 protocol is something that enables automatic text-based suggestions in input devices that have very limited input capabilities. Let's say for example touch-based mobile screens or small mobile screens with keypad with limited facility, where you need to do multiple clicks in order to text some data. So in that cases, IME provides text-based recommendations when the user inputs text values into the app, in the case of applications with devices having limited input capability. So when you take a look at our Samsung Smart TV remote, we can realize that there is no direct input for text-based entry. So IME comes to the rescue here. And also one more thing, IME takes care of the internationalization issue, that is like language level translation between various regions in which your app is gonna get used in the future. So in those cases the language translation is also carried out by IME. So let's go into the practical side. So fire up your Samsung Smart TV SDK. Here I'm using the version 5.1 of the Samsung Smart TV SDK, and here we'll see a basic tutorial that shows some introduction to Samsung Smart TV IME. I'm saving the more advanced stuff related to IME to the future tutorials. So let's go ahead and create a new project, which is of type Samsung Smart TV web app. It's a JavaScript project. So here I'm going the title IME YouTube demo. Okay, I'm leaving the other options as default. I'm going to create a new application. So if you look at the project explorer, you can see the default project that is created for us by the Samsung Smart TV SDK. And so this is our landing page. As you can see, there are two basic scripts that are included here. One is the widget.js and the other one is the TV key value.js. So the widget.js is something that you can call as your application manager that takes care of the initialization of your application, providing basic functions like the application lifecycle events, etc. And this TV key value is the one in which you will you will use it to handle remote key based inputs in your Samsung Smart TV application. So these two are the basic JavaScript files that are included by default. So in this tutorial I'm preferring to use the term plugin rather than a JavaScript file here. So in order, we need to add IME support to this application, as IME support is not included by default in a project that is created for a basic JavaScript app that you create in your SDK. So we need to add IME support to this project. Let's go ahead and add that thing. So for IME, I need 3 basic JavaScript files or plugins, as I can call. So these are the 3 files that I am going to use here. Okay. So my first file will be plugin.js, my second file will be IME.js, the third file will be IME-common.js. So these are the 3 plugins that I am going to use for enabling the IME support in our project. So the first one is plugin JS, which is actually a plugin kind of a file that is used to link your IME plugin to your normal Samsung Smart TV application. And the second one being the IME.js, which provides the core IME functionality, and IME common. Sorry, it's not IME common, it's actually IME input.js, which actually provides some input text box related capabilities. So one more thing to note is that IME only helps you to enter text based input here. Okay, so let's go ahead and add these 3 files to the project. So first thing, I'll be adding plugin.js. So script type equal to text JavaScript. I'm going to ignore this language attribute here. So the src will be manager widget space common API plugin.js. Okay, now I have included the plugin file here. So in the case of IME, there is one little thing that you have to note here is that IME works well only when all the HTML contents of your app gets loaded. So IME, for its effective functioning, needs the body tag to be already present. So in that case, either you have to load IME after your body tags get loaded, that is in your document load function dynamically, or you can do simply enable your simply include the IME link to your project inside the body of your landing page, because IME, once it gets initialized, it needs the body tag by default. So if you define this IME in the head portion here, this will be gets executed before the body tag is initialized. So in that case it will throw an error. So please take care when you include IME, better take care that you include the IME related stuff inside the body or through some other methods after the body tag gets loaded, like means loading through JavaScript, etc. There are so many methods to load JavaScript files. So let's, for now the time being, let's concentrate on the most simple script based import. So I'm adding the IME plugins inside the body tag. So script type equal to text JavaScript, and src will be manager widget common IME xt9 IME.js. So I have included the core plugin here, and now I need to add one more, that is text JavaScript. src equal to manager widget common IME xt9 input common IME underscore input.js. Okay, now we have added the IME related plugins to our project. This enables now we have added IME support to our application. So as I already told, IME helps you enter text based input. So for entering text based input, obviously we need a text field. So let's go ahead and add a text field right now. So here, just before this, I'll be adding some text field. So input type equal to text, the ID I'm going to give as plain text, and it let's say I give the size to be some 15 and max length to be 256. Now this is one more thing that you have to notice, that for the text boxes for which you need to link your IME, you need to set the maximum length of the character limit to be 256, because IME supports text inputs with a maximum length of 256. Once you enter value that has a length of more than 256, then IME starts to print some garbage values into your text input, so which is not a good option when your user sees your app loaded in its TV with some garbage values loaded in it. So in order to avoid that situation, it's better to limit the length of your character to 256 characters inside your text box. So this is the text box in which we are going to link this IME. So before proceeding further, I'll say you how our app looks like. So initially when we load our app, there will be a text box, and once we click the enter key, the text box gets focused. So once the text box gets focused, there will be something appearing in the screen called the IME selector. So this IME selector, what it does is, like, it actually, when you take a look at it, it actually looks like a virtual keypad. So you can use the navigation keys in your TV remote control, and you can navigate to each character and click to enter those values inside the text box that we provide for linking. So this is how our app going to work, and once we enter the values, we will press the return button, and this will hide the IME text selector in our app. So IME also has some advanced functionalities like text suggestion, etc, which we are not going to cover in this tutorial. I'm preparing a video tutorial on that, which will be released very soon. I'll be announcing that. So let's go ahead with our fixed functionality that we're supposed to implement in this app. So now we have included IME, and we have included the substrate, or the include point, or the text box in which we need to include the IME functionality here. Okay, so in order to show to the user that the current text box is focused, let's add some styles to the text box. For that, I have to open my style sheets folder. Okay, so I have to add this file. So input with an ID of plain text which is focused will be having the following style. So I'll give a padding to be of 10 pixel and a font size, let's say 25 pixel, and a box shadow. So this is something of my own. Okay, so for those of you who need some other styles, you can change the styles. You're free to change it, but this is something that I have chosen. Well, obviously you can choose your own styles too. So we have added the styles here. Now let's go ahead and add the functionality. So let's open the main.js file. So this is our main JavaScript file that is created by default. So both the plugins that are included in the script are initialized here, and there is some code for key-based event handling, etc here. So etc. So this is a basic JavaScript code. Now let's add the functionality that comes with that enables the IME. So the first thing that we need to initialize is the plugin API. So plugin API equal to new common.api.plugin, because this plugin is the one that is going to link our app with the IME. IME is kind of a separate plugin that needs to be incorporated into our app through this plugin file. So we have initialized this plugin here. Okay, now we need some variable to hold the IME object once it gets initialized. So for that, I will create a symbol of variable called IME, which is supposed to be null when it is initialized. And if you take so now let's go to the onload function. So this onload function is the one that gets called once your landing page contents get loaded successfully. So if you go to the index page and take a look at the body tag, you have specified, so onload is the function that should call once the body gets loaded. So let's go. So that is our place where we need some initialization operations. Okay, so let's come in a place where bit before this send ready key event. This send ready key event is something that sends the ready signal to your application manager saying that your app is initialized and is ready. Okay, so before that we need to initialize something. So let's go ahead and initialize the global IME setting, as I call it, the variable that is _g_IME, which is something that comes as a global variable once you include the IME.js file. So I am initializing it with some values, en, which is my language, and 235, 259, 12. So this is what I call the remote model ID. As we all know that Samsung Smart TV has a remote as the primary interaction device of the user. Obviously the user has other methods of interaction to Samsung Smart TV, like voice based interaction, gesture based interaction, and interaction through mobile phones or some gaming devices using, and the medium of connectivity may be wired, wireless like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, etc. So Samsung Smart TV is just better than a normal television. So this is what I call the ID or the class of the remote device that you're using to interact with the TV. The number that I've entered here is the normal default standard one that is provided by Samsung Smart TV. Well, I did a simple search on the internet showing some various uh, remote devices that is compatible with Samsung Smart TV, also the ones that are provided by Samsung Smart TV having the same as well as some different IDs. So I'll be writing a comparison or a blog post very soon to say what exactly is this number and what are the models that provide this number, etc, etc. So let's, for now the time being, let's stick to the basic remote model that is provided by Samsung Smart TV. Okay, and my next parameter will be my location, so USA. So I'm from India, but you know, in order to make the um, country level restrictions much more smoother, and for also the demonstration purposes, I'm using USA here. Of course I can use India also, but for demonstration purposes I'm using USA here. The next is my TV model that you can ignore that for now. Suppose in your case, if you want to enable this functionality only for specific TV models, then you can use the insert this TV model value here. The next will be my language code, sorry, my language code here. So you may be asking me a question, why do I need to focus my app towards specific models of the TV? As we all know, Samsung Smart TV provides various TV models, and some TV models may be having some extra features that so if you are implementing those kind of features that so those features will not be available on other models of the TV. So in that case you need to focus, or you need to filter your application to be installed on those specific TV models only. So in that case you can specify the TV models here. So let's, for our example, you can leave that as a blank. So I'm repeating these parameters here. The first will be our language code, the second will be the remote model, the third will be the country, the fourth will be the TV model, and the fifth will be the language code. Okay, so we have initialized this GIME in it, and the next will be, we'll be initializing the core IME functionality called the IME shell. So this is how I'll initialize this new IME shell. Note the spelling here. JavaScript, as we all know, is case sensitive, and we need to provide the exact case in order to for the functions to get executed properly. So the first parameter to this function is the ID of the text in which we are going to attach this IME functionality. So in our case it's plain text. You can verify that here. Go to the landing page and take a look at the input text. so this has an ID of plain text. So that's the ID that I'm going to give as the first parameter, the ID of the element that I'm going to attach this IME functionality. My second will be a callback function that gets called once my IME is initialized successfully. The third will be my language. Okay, so this is the place where the IME gets initialized, and once it gets initialized it has to be assigned to some object. So I have created a variable for holding the IME, so I'm going to assign this new object to that IME. Okay, now one thing we have missed is that the callback function called IME ready, which is a function that gets called once your IME code is ready. So here we go ahead and define this function. So where IME ready equal to function, so okay, this is how we'll define a function with a specific name. So this function, since the callback function, the IME is going to provide some input values to it. So here I am going to get an IME object. Okay, now once my IME is initialized, I will be getting an IME object as an input parameter for this function. So once I get this input parameter, I can use the input parameters whatever way I want. So I've got it, and now this is the way I'll recap the parameters once again. This is the ID of the element, the callback function once this function succeeds, and the language. So here in the first parameter there is one more way of defining them. Either you can give the ID as plain text, that is we have done right now, or you can refer the element directly here. Let's say document dot get element by ID of plain text. So this is one way of initializing this IME functionality, that is you can refer the element directly here, or you can give the ID of the text element as a string value here. So we have initialized this IME object, and now as previously said, our functionality will be once we click the enter key, our input gets focused and the IME text selector gets shown. So let's go to the enter key handler function here. So this is where our the function that gets called once we press the enter key. So these are the functionalities that are provided by default once you create a basic JavaScript application. So okay, now let's go ahead and focus this plain text. So document dot get element by ID plain text dot focus. Now we have focused our text input. So once this text element get focused, the styles that we have applied in the style sheet gets applied, and it will appear a little bit more bigger than it is initially. Okay, so now our text is focused. Now we need to bring our some IME text selector. For that I'm using the IME object, and it has a method called focus, which is obviously going to bring the IME text selector to the screen. Okay, now we got the selector. We can use the navigation keys like right, left, up, and enter button for selecting the input values. And once we press the return key, we need to hide this IME text selector. So we need to define that functionality. So I go to the IME ready function, and I'm going to make a call called the IME object dot set key function 88 IME close. Okay, so the set key function is something that is a function that is provided by IME, that is used to assign some value for a particular key press. So the first value is obviously our key code 88, which stands for the return key, return key in Samsung Smart TV, and also the IME close is a function that gets called once you press the return key. So let's go ahead and define that function here. So for where IME close equal to function, so here I'm going to close my IME text selector. For that I'm going to use the global object IME dot blur. Okay, so this function, once I call, is going to hide the IME text selector here. Okay, the functionality is all set. We have enabled the IME, we have added the IME functionalities, when to come, when to go, etc. The functionalities are added. Now the last thing that you have to do is you need to link this IME with the Samsung Smart TV application. So this functionality is done by plugin API. Let's go ahead and add that functionality too. So plugin API dot register IME key. So this is the function that is used by the plugin API in order to register the IME functionality with your application. So now it's all set. Let's go ahead and run this application. Go to your project folder, right click, run as Samsung Smart TV. Now the loading of the emulator will take a little bit time. Let's wait. So make sure that you have turned on the TV lock receiver so you can view the emulator output in the console window here. Let's make this a little bit bigger so you can take a better look at the Okay, now something is coming up. So the emulator is connected and window is opening. Okay, so something happened. Let's go ahead and take a look at the emulator. Now if you take a look at the top left corner, you can see the default text box that gets created. So that is the one that needs to be linked with the IME. So our first functionality to enable the IME is the enter key click. So let's go to the enter key and click. You can see that the text field is focused, that is a focus style gets applied here. Text gets a little more bigger, and this is the one, this is the master of today's show. As we this is the IME text selector, as I call, which helps us in entering the text values here. So okay, so I'm not going to explain in more detail about this IME text selector here. This is just acts just like a virtual keypad here. I'll be explaining the settings in this virtual keypad in a little bit more detail in my next video tutorial, maybe in the future. So in this video I'm going to limit myself to how to enter these values here. All you have to bring the focus to this IME text selector, just press your right button key. Okay, now you can see this Q got selected. So let's say we type something, so called Samsung. So I go right, then down. Okay, yes. Now you can see, if you take a look at the text bar, you can see yes is inputted. So there is nothing to explain here. This is something that you do with a normal virtual keyboard. Okay, now we have entered these values, and our next functionality that we are going to check is hiding of this IME text selector here. So once I click return, this is going to get hide here. There are numerous other settings here like numeric settings, etc. So this is the QWERTY pad that we are going displayed here. We can also display the numeric keypad, and various other options are there. So IME provides various other functionalities, some kind of advanced. So I'll be covering those in my future video tutorials. So let's go ahead and click the return key to hide this function. Okay, once I click the return key, we can see that the IME text selector gets hidden. Okay, So this was the functionality. In this video we saw how to initialize IME and how to enable basic text-based entry using IME in a Samsung Smart TV application. So I am keeping the advanced version like internationalization and text input suggestions, etc., to my future video tutorials. My next video tutorial will be based on how will show you how to play a video file using a Samsung Smart TV application. So stay tuned for that video, which is going to get released on this coming Sunday. Okay, so Sunday is the release date that I have fixed for my next video. There has been a little delay in the release dates. So coming Sunday is the release date for the video that shows how to play a video file in Samsung Smart TV. I'm keeping the advanced stuff like text-based suggestions and more input options with the IME to my next other video tutorial. The release dates I'll be releasing on my next video. So that's all for now for the basic Samsung Smart TV application IME editor. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.